Climbing awakes a majesty and a beauty that captivates my soul. Driven by curiosity, I yearn to understand and know places that most others cannot or will not go. This is my adventure to Ama Dablam, who stretches over 6,812 meters into the sky, standing centurion with many Himalayan peers over a wonderful land of beauty and mystique in Nepal's Khumbu region, which ranges from 11,000 to 29,032 feet, the highest place on Earth. The first crux was to get to the other side of the world via a 17-hour flight from Seattle to Singapore and a tight connection to hop a 4.5-hour flight to Kathmandu. 20 hours later and 12 hours and 45 minutes time difference, I landed in Kathmandu, Nepal.
So, Agitano, it's about 11:30 here. It was another 4 hours in Dubai, and we've made it to Kathmandu.
We stayed 2 nights at Hotel Manzulu in the Tamal district of Kathmandu, Nepal's capital. Kathmandu sits at 4,300 feet and is a busy and chaotic city of nearly 1 million people. We visited the Pashupati Temple, a Hindu temple dedicated to the god Shiva, the destroyer. It is World Heritage Site and is a sprawling collection of temples, ashrams, images, and inscriptions raised over the centuries along the banks of the sacred Bagmati River. The Bagmati River is considered sacred by both Hindu and Buddhist. Many people of Nepal believe that cremation at the Pashupati Temple is carried out, their loved ones will join the eternal path. Many wear orange and red as sacred colors at special events. Red symbolizes love, commitment, strength, and bravery. The temple's existence is recorded as early as 400 AD. The current temple was built in 1692. Our second World Heritage Site was to Bodhanath Stupa. It is a massive mandala and one of the largest spherical stupas in the world. The dome is freshly whitewashed every year. Saffron water is used to paint the yellow-colored lotus petal pattern on the dome. The stupa dates from 600 AD. The stupa is on an ancient trade route from Tibet which enters the Kathmandu Valley. Tibetan merchants have rested and offered prayers at the Bodhanath Stupa for many centuries. We left the relative calm of the Bodha Stupa and entered the hectic streets of Kathmandu. We went to Tamal, a typical neighborhood full of shops catering to trekkers to get their last-minute gear before heading up into the Everest region. Stocked up and loaded, we made our way to Tribhuvan International Airport. Here we caught a helicopter ride that would take us across the Kathmandu Valley, gaining multiple feet of elevation as we landed in Lukala at over 9,000 feet. This airport has a reputation of being one of the most dangerous airports in the world, as a steep runway drops off sharply as it looks like you're going to fly into an adjacent mountain cliff. Hydration is key in the arid, high-altitude environment, so we started our trek with tea and then headed down the street of Lukala, embarking on our journey, which started in the lush lower valleys at 9,000 to 11,000 feet. This fertile valley has common crops including carrots, cauliflower, and potatoes. This path is often called the Everest Highway, and it stretches from Lukala all the way to the base camp of Mount Everest. There are many small communities with ample tea houses along the way. The path is shared with mule, cow, yak, porters, and trekkers from all over the world. A key feature of the Everest Highway, as you can see hordes of people coming at me, in a beautiful valley below with the river running through it. On day 2, we entered Sagarmatha National Park. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is home of 3,000 to 6,000 Sherpa people. Sagarmatha is the native name of Mount Everest and means goddess of the sky. Over 30,000 people visit the park every year. The rough topography and steep elevation means that the primary mode of transporting supplies is via humans, donkeys, cows, and yaks. No motorized vehicles outside of helicopters exist in this region. On day 2, we entered Namche Bazaar, a city carved into a hill. It is one of the largest towns in the Khumbu region and is a central area for commerce, for getting supplies, stopping in a coffee shop for a bite to eat. It is adorned with Buddhist symbolism, prayer flags, and prayer wheels, which have ancient script that when they move are said to send prayers up to the gods. Namche Bazaar is where we got our first glimpse of Ama Dablam peeking above the crested hills. After fueling up on coffee and desserts, we headed on to Ama Dablam Lodge, where we stayed our second night. On our second day, Tim led us on an acclimatization hike and up a couple thousand feet to enjoy the views and acclimatize by climbing high and sleeping low. We hiked through Kumjum, a Sherpa village under the shadow of a 5,700-meter peak called Kumbalar, or God of Khumbu. It is considered too sacred to climb by most Sherpa people. From our high point of just over 14,000 feet, we can see the peaks of Tawanche, Everest, Nupse, Lhotse, Ama Dablam, and Tamshurakku, and peer down into the villages of Namche Bazaar, Kumjum, and Tomé. Kumjum is a slightly less touristy village and is home to the Kumjum Monastery, which is said to house a Yeti skull. It also boasts the longest Mani wall in Nepal. Tashi was our sweet host at Ama Dablam Lodge and invited us into her personal prayer room, and she bestowed us with scarves and bid us good luck on our journey. The exceedingly strong and powerful people in the Everest region are classically known as the Sherpa, but there are other people groups among them, including the Taming, Rai, Limbu, and Buhita. Tengbushe is a small village that is home to an important monastery called the Tengbushe Monastery, which is the largest Gampa in the Everest region. It is said to be the most beautiful monastery in the world based on its location. Our journey continues to follow along the river as we lose several hundred feet, simply to regain them as we enter the city of Pembrokeshire. Throughout the Khumbu region, there's Buddhist effigies and symbolism of their religion. Our trek-in was richly steeped in culture. We hiked up next to Big Buddha for commanding views of our objective, Ama Dablam.
Starting with, we've got the rocky skyline, yeah, and where it changes in angle and you've got a scimitar-shaped ridge joining, you've got 3 ridges joining. Everyone with me on that? That is Camp 1. And we'll go from ABC to Camp 1, have a look around Camp 1, back down to ABC, and then up to ABC, up to Camp 1 to sleep at some stage in the trip. When we're at Camp 1, we'll endeavour to have 2 nights there, and on the day in between we'll go along the ridge. We're slightly on the other side, and we're going along the very flat section. There's a pinnacle on its own. We'll probably go a little bit further beyond that towards Camp 2 and then back down to Camp 1. So going back along that ridge again, and you've got that little pinnacle, and then further along there's suddenly quite a steep section, and then beyond that a flat rocky section that meets where the snowy skyline is. That flat rocky section, that's Camp 2. Yeah, the infamous Camp 2. From there, we go along and into what we call the Grey Couloir, which you can't really see, and we go to some snowy sections. Now, not the skyline snow, just before it, you can see a snowy curve, and that's Mushroom Ridge, and that leads up to a bulbous section that's just catching a bit of snow at the top, and that is the site of Camp 3. From Camp 3, you've got the slopes going up to the right of the Dablam being the main Serac. We're going to the right of the Dablam, and then we'll find our way through over the Bergschrund, and then you can see there's a very obvious diagonal from right to the midsection of the summit. There's a very obvious ridge going up. It's just catching the sun on its right hand side. It's still in the shade on the left hand side, and that's the summit slopes all the way up to the top.
With our casual trekking nearing an end and our route in full view, we are humbled. We turn off the Everest Highway and gain the desolate high ridge towards Mundo, the last tea house and coveted internet spot before base camp. Though the distance was not too vast, it took great effort as we huffed our way into base camp at 15,200 feet. Our base camp staff was absolutely phenomenal, as they cheerfully served us amazing food out of a tent on propane stoves. An important part of Buddhist Sherpa tradition is to take part in a puja ceremony prior to beginning the journey to the mountain's summit. Climbers and Sherpa take part in the puja ceremony, a rite of passage asking the gods for permission to climb and for safekeeping. Prior to climbing in earnest, we spent some time practicing on fixed ropes using Jumars to ascend and figure-8 devices to rappel. Climbing at high altitude requires acclimatization. We achieve this by climbing up to Advanced Base Camp and down to Base Camp, Advanced Base Camp to Camp 1 down to Base Camp. This repeated cycling helps our bodies adjust to the high altitude. I will say that at no time did I ever feel like hiking at this level was easy. Temperatures obviously vary depending on elevation, but probably range between 60 degrees in the lower levels to below freezing. During the day it was comfortable, every day was brilliantly sunny. But at night it would get incredibly cold, and we woke up to frozen water bottles and ice every morning.
Made it through the boulder field. Now we're on slabs. Just time to put our climbing gear on. Not very technical. You know, worth being clipped in. And there's Camp 1. 9 o'clock-ish on Saturday the 19th of November. We're at Camp 1 and we stayed here last night. Not the most comfortable night ever, but I suppose the views do make up for it. I can see Camp 2 behind me, Camp 1 here, you can see base camp, our base camp, and the other base camp over there, which is pretty cool. The plan for today is a bit of acclimatization. So we're going to go on the ropes towards Camp 2, and we're going to come back here and spend the night again in Camp 1 to go back down to base camp tomorrow. 2 days rest, ready for our summit attempts in a few days' time, weather permitting. Go to the camera, Pete. Yeah, this is our tent. We were sleeping in there last night. Any closer, and me and Pete would have had to get married today.
Talk about how amazing we are. Up at this place in the morning, getting back to the camp where we started, a little practice jaunt. Where else would you want to be? Nowhere at all. We're very lucky.
Well, we can't expect you like geckos, man.
Here comes our water by Mr. Jetta.
Wednesday 23rd of November, and the first summit attempt group.
Indeed.
Yeah, we're making our way up to Camp 1 for the night. It's Wednesday today, with the objective of summiting by Friday, or on Friday, sometime in the
Friday
morning-ish, isn't it?
Midday-ish,
Yeah.
maybe.
Cool. So that's the aim. So we'll try and keep everybody updated. See you all later. You good? Doing pretty good.
Yeah. Logical first stop for the day. We're down the valley, up the valley to the Arrow minimum. and then we have a hill.
And
Some people call it Shit Hill 1.
Yeah, and then another hill.
Yeah, amazingly it's called Shit Hill 2.
Yeah.
But hey,
Does it go down at any point?
oh no, never.
No.
No. Always up.
Always up.
Always up.
Always up. Until you get to the top.
Here we are, Camp 1. Tents terraced up this hillside. Beautiful Himalayan mountains. Amazing huge glaciers and seracs. A little lake at the bottom where lovely Locksman has gone and got water and carried it up to ABC, which is below us. My tent is the third one on that row of 3. We have Ama Dablam herself.
This is our third trek up to Camp 1. We spent the night here and set off for Camp 2 the following morning, but not until the sun was high in the sky.
It's Thursday, 24th of November, 9:15. Second day of the summit bid. See the boys up ahead, along the rope, and Pete just in front. Hey Pete, easy does it, brother.
Camp 1 to Camp 2 is stunning ridge climbing with brilliant exposure. The crux was climbing rock in gigantic summit boots. My pack was too full to carry them. I carried roughly 35 pounds of gear to Camp 2, which sits at around 20,000 feet.
And here's Sachin, and below Dorji and Google. Yeah,
Becca,
Jen, and between Sachin.
yeah, and you're a pilot.
Pilot, yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
I made it to Camp 2 at last. Yeah, it's been, yeah, it has been. Bags are heavy, we've got all the sleeping kits and summit kit. Now we're going to find a tent, try and hydrate, get something to eat. We're setting off in a few hours from summit.
Tents cling precariously to this jagged high mountain tower as she tries to shed them.
It's 24th of November. Pete and I. Hello. Hello. Trying to melt some snow. Yeah. Filling our water bottles. Sherpas are coming to get us at 11ish. And then we'll trickle out of here for our summit descent. It's bitterly cold. Lots of clothes on. Lots of climbing. Of course, I won't be able to do much filming till the sun comes up, but I'll keep you updated. Fingers crossed. We'll make it there and back. See you later.
I left Camp 2 at 11 p.m. and climbed through the night, up the Grey Couloir, across Mushroom Ridge, past Camp 3, onward towards the summit.
Too early.
No.
We're having a little rest, heading up towards Camp 3. We've got Tyler with us, who's going to keep us perfectly safe. It's a nice little place, no wind, so we're very, very lucky. It's now going to be Pete and Jimmy and myself, just taking it nice and steady.
Past Camp 3, the wind relentlessly ripped through my gore, my down, and all my permaloft with ease. As watchmen wait for morning, I too yearned for signs of dawn. We huffed and panted our way up the mountain. The terrain left very few places to stop and rest, so we gasped at every anchor as we reclipped. A radiantly iridescent glow hit the horizon about an hour before we reached the summit. I have seen sunrises on mountains, but this one was a kind of iridescence that amplified the sky. At over 22,000 feet, I stood on top of Ama Dablam, feeling like a peer among the highest mountain in the world. The descent was challenging due to fatigue and hazy vision. I leaned into the help of Pinjo Sherpa as we descended 4,500 feet back down to Camp 1. We descended to base camp the next day. It was here that we rested and regaled each other in tales and triumphs of terror and conquest as we processed the last 4 weeks' journey and the morphing of strangers from across the globe to teammates and friends, forever bonded by ice, altitude, shared tents, and Himalayan adventure. The kata scarf symbolizes purity and compassion and is presented often at the arrival or departure of guests. When given as a farewell gesture, it symbolizes a safe journey. And it was time for our journey here to end. The 2-day hike out was a time to reflect and absorb the journey. I am filled with gratitude for the people who made it happen, the new friends I made from across the world, the hospitality, the laughs, the moment of discomfort, a shared goal have knitted together a memorable team. I will not soon forget the people, the beauty of this place, the ruggedness of this mountain, the majesty of the Himalayas, the experience of adventure.
Come take my hand.